people? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes every single damn time and subscribe if you are new. Newcastle versus Chelsea preview. And this is a tough game. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Regardless of what injury crisis that Newcastle are potentially suffering from, St. James's Park is never an easy place to go to. They put you up in the gods. They don't allow you to sing your songs. And you are really in another universe, really, when you're over there. And they really are quite intense with their crowd and also in their play. They're very aggressive. They're very, tenacious. We saw it against Arsenal. Bruno Guimaraes. Joe Linton is in this team now. The shithousery, the physicality. That is something that, regardless of who is available for them, they are going to bring. And we saw it at Old Trafford with Newcastle went there in the cup with their C team, arts and craft at the back with Dummett and whatnot. They still put in a performance and got a result. Of course, I believe we play better football than Manchester United, but it just goes to show there's an example out there of when they are rotating, resting, they can still put in a performance and apply some sort of system. But now, talking about us, we are also a team that are very good in big games. We play very well in big games. It almost suits us for teams to come onto us and to give us that space. And I was speaking to Matty Renton of the Magpie fan channel, and he's saying to me that they are going to come onto us. They're not going to play a low block, which was music to my ears because I don't want to see Newcastle park it. I've seen Newcastle park it. I've seen them park it at the San Siro. I've seen them park it at the Emirates. I've seen them park it at the Etihad. It is not a pretty sight. When Newcastle decide to park that bus, it's not moving. It's a double-decker. It's one of them bendy buses that we used to see in London that got, basically taken off the spectrum there, basically. It's just causing all sorts of accidents, bruv. That's what they were. And they're proper difficult to break down when you put that kind of defense up in front of them. But for us now, they're going to come out. They're at home. They're going to force the issue, right? They're ahead of us in the table. This is a fantastic opportunity. In the next 3 games, they are must-wins, right? Not to say if we don't, there should be panic and we should start moving mad. But I'm just saying that we need to be going into these games, as always, but in particular these next 3 games, with the mentality of we're winning all 3. Because Newcastle, Brighton, Manchester United, if you want to catch and overlap the teams in front of you, there's no better way than doing it, beating the teams. And it's double homicide. They lose points, you gain points. You gain ground on them, they potentially fall into your arms and into your hands. And then next thing you know, you're sitting in a European place, which is where we really ought to be come Christmas time. So yeah, for me personally, with Newcastle, they have struggled against Dortmund last couple of games in the Champions League. They have PSG coming up, which they might have one eye on. They also lost against Bournemouth. Very good team, but beatable. And we have to go there and try to do just that. Now, with our team, we know who's in form. We know who's absolutely blazing through the traps at the moment. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of hysteria. There was a little bit of excitement. Do you know what I'm saying? People are starting to get a little bit, oh, Nkunku, is he going to be available? Is he going to be on the bench? He's not going to be on the bench, right? It was confirmed today Nkunku's not going to be on the bench for this game. But you know what? I'm actually happy about that because there's no team I'd rather him not play than Newcastle. They're physical. They're aggressive. They make the nasty tackles. We saw Bruno Guimaraes. Could have been sent off against Arsenal. Could have easily been sent off against Arsenal. Little shithousery. Do you know what I'm saying? Those are the kind of players that you don't want around an Nkunku who's just come off an injury. And we need to be really protecting him and looking after him and making sure that this doesn't happen again. He was injured for Leipzig last season. He missed the World Cup for France. He then only played, I think, 1 game in the next 7 following the recovery of his injury, more than 60 minutes. He only played 1 game, more than 60. So he was really slowly bedded in. And he still finished joint top scorer. So we need to be thinking along those lines where Nkunku's going to only be picking up cameo minutes, half an hour there, 20 minutes there, 15 minutes there, building it up incrementally, and then hopefully a start in the new year. But for me, listen, maybe it'll start before then, but I really don't want to risk him. I think we need to be very careful, and he's not going to be available, and I think that's fair. I think that's the right decision. Lavia is also not available. That was also confirmed as well. Again, I wasn't expecting to see him, but the fact that he's even potentially on his way back is nice to know. And of course, Fofana back on the grass. Pochettino spoke about it. He was meant to be out for the whole season. This brother is only second to Didier Drogba in recovering from malaria. I don't understand how he's even a thought process, how he's even something that I'm speaking about right now, but he's back on the grass. He's training. Now, he's still rehabilitating and he's not going to be available for, I assume for a while more. But The fact that we're even mentioning his name is massive, and he's huge. If he can get back to the form that he showed at Leicester when he was, basically beating us in the FA Cup final, man of the match, in my opinion, that game when Tielemans scored the long shot, you guys will remember, he was unbelievable. In his first Leicester season, he was unbelievable. He was playing at the level that they talk about Saliba at right now. Now, obviously, he's had 2 massive injuries, so for him to get back to that level is going to be increasingly difficult. We have had our fair share of big injuries at this club. Hudson-Odoi, Loftus-Cheeks, we know Reece James, Ben Chilwell, we know that, a player may or may not come back the same way. But we have to be patient. But if he can fully recover, he is one hell of a centre-back. And he's going to be able to allow us to push our line higher up the field, give us a little bit more of a compact unit when we press, because we don't have to drop into a mid-block or defend a bit deeper, because he has that recovery pace. He's great in defending wide areas. He's very good aerially. He's actually, for me, borderline very complete as a centre-back. I can't find any glaring weaknesses when he's at his best. So him at right side centre-back would be incredible. But early days. Obviously, Carney still coming back as well, rehabilitating. Ben Chilwell the same. And obviously, Trevor Chalobah is actually out for maybe the longest out of everyone. It's going to be 6 months in totality when he potentially comes back at the end of the January window. He could have been potentially up for sale, but hey, we don't know what's going on with him. So more setbacks. So those are the injury situations. My team, therefore, is quite easy to pick. It's going to be an aggressive game. I think Conor Gallagher is going to be absolutely crucial to this game, because we know Bruno Guimaraes is going to start, right? Fresh off that fight from Brazil versus Argentina, which Enzo thankfully came out unscathed. Joe Linton, I think he could play on the left wing, potentially if Gordon's playing up front. If Gordon's playing on the left and Isak is back, which is, touch and go, then he goes into the midfield. Again, physicality, strength, pace, power. And then you've got Longstaff or Willock, potentially both. We'll see when I show the potential Newcastle lineup. But there's a lot of legs in there. There's a lot of nitty gritty. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot going on in there where Gallagher's need to cover the ground. And Enzo, we were speaking about his fatigue and potentially him as a player needing a rest or needing some time to recover, birth of a newborn. Potentially, obviously, these 3 trips to South America in consecutive international breaks. Who knows, right? May just need a little bit of a timeout. Obviously, he's not going to get it until Lavia is really back fit, because I don't think the manager quite trusts Leslie Okachukwu to start definitely games of this magnitude, but to start and be press resistant in those tight spaces when we're trying to play out. Just too early for him. So Lavia really was the fantastic medium where he's played Premier League football. He's experienced in being a press-resistant midfielder, carrying the ball, playing under immense pressure, and he could have easily slotted in for an Enzo, different type of player, but I think the trust would have been there. So Enzo's going to have to ride this one out. He's going to have to play this game, in my opinion. I wouldn't drop him for this, but Gallagher's legs are going to compensate for anything that Enzo potentially doesn't have. And obviously, Caicedo, we need him back to his very best. He's obviously come from South America as well this week. So for me, the midfield battle is absolutely crucial. It's going to be 3v3 in there. It's going to be crazy. I do expect us to dominate the ball. I do expect us to control proceedings. We are, in my opinion, the better team from a technical aspect, but their system is more refined, more fleshed out, and they play good football when they want to as well. So it's going to be an interesting game. Now, for me, my team, let's go into it. I think Sanchez has to go in goal. I think that's just non-negotiable at this point, right? We haven't even seen Petrovic. Did he even sign for us? Who knows? It's a conspiracy at this moment in time. Right back, Reece James. Thankfully, this guy is continuing to stay fit. Touch wood, he continues to stay fit. Gusto probably comes on 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go. We continue to keep this, swap in, swap out for the 2 fullbacks. I'm cool with that. Centre-back, Disasi and Silva. Obviously, Colwell was coming back from something over the international break. The manager says he's in contention to be involved in this game. Whether that means he can start or coming off the bench, I'm not too sure. It wasn't clarified completely that he is definitely starting. He said he's saving his lineup, of course, for tomorrow. Now, there's something I want to ask you, right? As a people, as a community, do we start Colwell at left back for the height, for the physicality, for the set pieces, which we know that Kevin Trippier can deliver on an absolute linchpin to the foreheads of Bruno Guimaraes, to Joe Linton, to probably Lascelles, potentially Sarr if he's available, it's touch and go, or, arts and craft. Do we play Colwell at left back for the height, or do we go Kukurea? I've gone with Kukurea in my team because it's made easier by not knowing if Colwell's ready to start from a fitness standpoint. However, if Colwell does start at left back, I keep saying, for me, I do sympathise with Poch in terms of the lack of height in this team and being wary of Newcastle's physicality and aerial, prowess. They scored their goal against Arsenal due to just that. Although controversial, we need to be able to deal with those situations. So I'm going to go Cucurella at left back because I kind of want to focus on how we're going to play, and he's been playing very well. However, if Colwell starts at left back, you go through their team, they outnumber us aerially if we don't play them. I think they still do, even if we do play them. I think they still outnumber us aerially. So it's a tough one. Anyway, going on midfield, Caicedo, Enzo, of course, in midfield. Then obviously on the right wing, I'm going with the likes of Palmer, Gallagher in the 10, and obviously Raheem Sterling on the left, and Jackson up front. He's fresh off scoring, 4 goals in the last 2 games. And Broja just coming back into the thick of things. I don't want to throw him straight in there. Again, looking after our players, but a massive boost to have him back. And I'm looking forward to seeing him hopefully stay fit, because I think Pochettino really likes him. I think he sees a massive future for him in terms of refining his attributes and developing him further. I think he's a better ball striker. I've said it before than Jackson. I don't know if it's clear, but I think it is. And obviously he's physical. He can hold up the ball. He's got serious pace, deceptive pace. He showed against Brentford in that away game, last year. Unfortunately, he got injured, but he's got a little bit of everything, Broja. And listen, maybe he'll be up to the level, maybe he won't, but we need to find out before we go and potentially splash on another striker. So good to have him back. Competition for Jackson. For Newcastle, like I said, injuries, Sarr is touch and go, doubt potentially. Who knows if he's going to play, but it could be Lascelles and Crafts or Dummett. Actually, I think Dummett's actually out for this game. And then you've got the likes of course, Longstaff, touch and go. A doubt, but Willock could play in there with Guimaraes, with Joe Linton. Of course, Almiron is a doubt. Isak is a doubt, but again, they could play. It's not really, we don't know. We just have to see. But potentially, this is how the Newcastle team could look. And if it does, it's a strong team. It's a strong 11. So we don't come into this game underestimating them whatsoever. We need to do the job and put points on the board and get on a run now. I think we can go on a run, but it has to start here. And their bench will probably look weak. They don't have much to change the game. They're going to have youngsters there. But the starting 11 for me will be strong enough to cause us problems and to not be complacent. So that's the teams. That's the thought process. I'm going to go over 2-1 Chelsea win. I still think it's going to be a tough game, but we have to edge it. We have to get out of this with a win and build up that momentum going into the Brighton game and the Man United game. And of course, we play Newcastle again in the Cup. So no better way to go into that than beat them in the league. And then obviously the Cup is the quarterfinal going into the semis. We really want to win that, because that's an opportunity of a trophy. So, and they're last year's finalists. So yeah, there's a lot going on there, a lot to unpack. Let me know in the comments down below 2 things. Your team, actually 3 things. Your team, your score prediction, and more importantly, your team. Because whoever you pick at left back, I guess will answer the third question of what do we do with the Colwell versus Cucurella situation for the height. Your team will let me know that. So 2 things. Let me know in the comments down below. Big up your damn selves in the building. I'll see you guys for the watch along and the review. And yes, we will be doing a double if you're asking. Because Manchester City versus Liverpool is before our game, I will just do a double. Manchester City versus Liverpool, then Newcastle versus Chelsea for the watch along. And if you're wondering about potential FIFA series, my PlayStation, if you haven't heard, broke. Big Six fans fuming, but there's nothing I can do. It's at the shop, getting it fixed hopefully, and then the FIFA series will return when that returns to my house. So yeah, that's everything. Make sure you smash up the likes, subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, big up your damn selves in the building. In a bit, people. Peace.